I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script every scene. These from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang the regime. I'm from Potty Green.
This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feta, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's goody, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joke, and I'm back again with a brand new video. And today I want to talk about the biggest potential steal in this year's draft and why this guy should be on the Carolina Panthers roster this upcoming season. You've probably already heard me talk about this guy before. I have mentioned him a few times in my live streams when I do the live mock drafts and whatnot. But there's a guy out of Chapel Hill who I think really is one of the biggest sleepers in this draft, a guy who hasn't been getting his respect, a guy who was put at a very strong disadvantage because of the scheme he was in, and not only the scheme he was in, but because of some of the players around him, which sounds kind of weird, like, wait, the players around him made him worse? How's that work out? Was he LeBron, or was he trying to trade him off the team? No, I'll get into that in a second. The guy I'm talking about here is Anthony Ratliff-Williams, a 6'1" receiver out of North Carolina. And look, your first thought is, wait, 6'1"? I thought you said we needed a guy who's 6'4", 6'5". We need a big body receiver. We need a guy who can go up and get fades. This guy, Anthony Ratliff-Williams, I'm going to call him ARW. This guy is 6'1", but he plays like he's 6'4". The guy plays way bigger than his size, way bigger than his frame. The dude is a monster. He has so many different skills and so many different assets he can bring to the team that are all perfect for the Carolina Panthers. First off, I want to go ahead and get to his stats so I can explain what I meant at the top of the video. Show his stats right here. Now, for most scouts, most analysts, and for the keyboard GMs out there, these stats look horrible, right? Junior year, 42 receptions, almost 700 yards, and only 2 touchdowns. Like, wait, you're a junior and you enter the draft and you only had 2 touchdowns your last year at your school? And weren't you the #1 receiver on that team? Wait, what happened there? What happened there? Let me talk to you about context. You guys know that stats are important, but stats don't tell the whole story. Y'all already know my favorite word is context. Let me give it to you right here. In 2018, the quarterbacks this guy was playing with, Nathan Elliott had a 61% completion rate, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. They had another quarterback named Kate Fortin who threw about 70 passes this past year, less than 50% completion rate, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But as a team, there were a total of 9 guys who played for the Tar Heels just this past season who threw at least 1 pass, and the total touchdown to interception ratio was 14 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Does that sound like the kind of environment that would really, accentuate a guy's skills? But there's more context here. In 2017, they had a QB named Chaz Surratt. He had a 58.5 completion rate, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The backup quarterback, Nathan Elliott, had a 51% completion rate, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And ARW, who was actually a quarterback coming out of high school, went 3 for 4 and had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I don't want to put all the blame on the quarterbacks or the system or the coaching or whatever it is, but it's very, very obvious that this guy was not put in the most advantageous of spots, of situations, to really accentuate the skills, to really display what he could do. It was a bad situation all around. It is what it is, and that led to him not even getting an invite to the NFL Combine this year. Easily one of the biggest snubs. The guy is obviously good. He can run the fade. Doesn't really have elite speed. He tested at a 4.46 40 at his pro day. It was unofficial, so it may have been actually like a 4.5. The guy doesn't have breakout elite speed, but he has very good functional speed. He can run the comeback route very, very well. Corners have to respect him deep, so that comeback route is one of his best ones. He can run the post. I really wouldn't want to put him in too many situations where he's crossing the formation, but anything in the vertical third, he's really good with screens. There's something about him with his yards after the catch. He's not very fast, and he's not the strongest guy, but he has just enough quickness, just enough agility, and just enough strength to be able to shake off would-be tacklers, to be able to shake away and get rid of guys who would be in pursuit of him. He has more than enough ability to be very productive at the next level. And what's really funny is scouts and analysts don't know where to put this guy. I've seen some guys give him 3rd round grades. I've seen a lot of guys give him 3rd day grades. I've seen guys say he won't even be drafted. He's going to be a UDFA who has to work in someone's training camp to get a job. I'm more likely to lean toward him being a late day 3 kind of guy, probably round 6. There are going to be teams that want him. But the biggest thing for me is not just his ability to catch, not his ability to, stretch the field a little bit, not just how deadly he can be in the red zone, the end zone with those high points, because he does play bigger than his frame would suggest. One of the biggest things I like about him is his ability and his willingness to block. He is a great outside blocker. He wants to block, he will block, and he will maintain those blocks very, very well. And that's very important for our scheme because we do run a lot of screens, a lot of swing routes to Christian McCaffrey, maybe some wheel routes. Having a receiver out there who is willing and able to block can open up so many different things in your scheme, and it helps out with the team so much more than the stat sheet can really provide an answer for, can really provide evidence for. ARW is easily one of my favorite players in this draft who won't be a first or second round pick. A guy who should really be in the third, maybe fourth round, who will probably be available sixth, maybe seventh. And in my opinion, that's obviously less of a function of his lack of skills and more of a function of, you know, guys just not being able to see too much of him in college because he played with guys, with quarterbacks who were probably more of elite Division II quarterbacks, guys who would light up the FCS, but just aren't built for D1. I mean, you know, look, man, Carolina is not a football school. 2018, they went 2-9, ranked 119th out of 130. 2017, they went 3-9, ranked 110th out of 130. I could go back year by year, but I won't pile on here. The guy is good. He's versatile. He can sell a route, and he used to play quarterback, so he knows a little bit about how corners and safeties look, how they play. He can pass the ball a little bit. I would not be surprised if we threw in some trick plays where he could pass the ball, whether short, maybe even long sometimes. There was one play where he threw at Carolina where he kind of threw a wobbler. It was complete, but it wasn't really the best one, but that was in 2017, so, I mean, the guy can pass. The guy has practice passing, and also he can return punts and kicks. His junior year, he had 895 total yards of kick returns, returned 2 for touchdowns. This past year, 600, and he had average returns of 26 and 21 yards respectively. So the guy can do, not at all, he can't do it all, but he can do a lot. And I think, you know, for a 6th rounder, the guy is obviously worth the price. I think he's going to be gone in the 5th, maybe. But if he is there in the 6th, there couldn't be a more perfect fit for the team. And if we do lock in on him, which also I forgot to mention, we actually did bring him in for a workout. One of the only players that we brought in for a workout and the only receiver that was on our visits that we did bring in for a workout. A 6th round pick is a good enough investment. And if we do pick him up in the 6th round, that opens up the draft a lot because we aren't using an earlier round pick on a receiver. We can use that to pick up maybe even 2 linemen, maybe one early who can start, maybe one who can like be a developmental guy, or someone who can shore up and be a backup who, just in case someone does go down, we can plug and play, put him somewhere, and he can work out really well for us. Maybe a backup running back. We can get maybe a backup quarterback for the future. Maybe Will Grier in the 4th round. We don't have to use a 4th round pick on a receiver. I think give it a chance. This guy could work perfectly for our team. And we just signed Chris Hogan. If you recognize this is the same shirt. This is the same day I'm recording the Chris Hogan video. So I think it's going to come out maybe a few days, like 4 or 5 days after that video. Who knows? It could be any kind of schedule. I don't have a real schedule up right now. But this guy is a monster. But that's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts? Have you looked up Anthony Ratliff-Williams? How do you feel about him? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And one last thing before I go, you probably heard it a lot by now, but if you haven't yet, please consider going down to that link in the description below or in the pinned comment and signing that petition to maybe get the Panthers to partner with this channel. We do a lot of different things here. If you're digging the content, if you want to support, it takes all of 10 seconds, man. It would mean a lot to me. And if you do like what you're seeing here, it can have a really big impact on improving even more on what we can do on this channel. So if you haven't done it yet, please consider it. Either way, you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.